Hi, everybody. This is Breaking the Cage, and I am Lady Stars on Fire. I call it Breaking the Cage because we are exercising all of the negative energy, the negative society, the negative bull that we were raised believing, and we're learning how to be more authentic and grow into exactly who and what we were meant to always be. This is Breaking the Cage for January 21st through February 3rd. I am doing a little bit of an extended one simply because next week I'm going to be really busy and I'm not going to have time to come back out and do it. So I'm sending it all the way out to February 3rd, which also is going to be a new moon in Aquarius. Now, there's going to be a lot of energies that are still going on as we travel through this. We're halfway through Mercury retrograde. On the 24th, Mars is going to move into Capricorn, where Mercury retrograde is going on the 25th. Capricorn is already slammed with energy. You also have Venus, which is still in retrograde until the 29th. You have the new moon taking place on February 1st in Aquarius. And then Mercury will go direct on February 3rd. So we're, at a halfway point through Mercury retrograde. And it's about to shift from Aquarius and go into Capricorn with the loaded houses. And I'm saying it that way because the sun's just moved out, but Mars is moving in. You still have, so much energy going on here. Not Uranus, Mercury in retrograde, Mars coming in. You have Pluto still here. Venus is in retrograde up until, what was I saying, the 29th. This is putting a lot of extra emphasis on our sensitivity. And last week I was saying, and when I did the week, not the weekly, but the monthly, the monthly astrological sign readings for each sign, I was saying that you were going to be seeing with this Mercury retrograde, where we're looking at a lot of where things have been nurtured properly versus where they've been neglected and what needs to give or take to make this better. However, before I go into the astrology, I'm going to give you what Spirit has given me for the energy for these 2 weeks as we are starting to come and build upon this new moon in Aquarius. Spirit says, try to understand, to tap into your most purest of potential, your most purest your most purest essence, because they want you to dedicate this time and this energy to the self-respect of what that pure essence is, of what yourself is, and getting back to your true authenticity. And it's weird because as a medium, the way that they talk to me, I don't hear them very well. So they speak to me through my actual physical body. And I had to learn how to, understand what those messages are. And what they're giving me is a lot of wintergreen and a lot of spearmint. And wintergreen has a lot to do with release, repetitive, negative energies. Repetitive, negative energies. Release them. Mental conflict and misperception. Spirit is very big on this misperception. We're starting to learn clarification of this. There is a lot of misperception that we have, viewed, we have acknowledged, we have seen things this way for so long. And we're learning that that was a misperception, especially when it comes down to the outer world, society, and what has to happen and what does not have to happen, as well as your own personal self, your own personal self-value, self-respect, self-love, integrity, and acknowledging, this misperception of who we are as well as the worlds we've been living in. Now, they're explaining to me that this has a lot to do with the cleansing of these energies. But they also give me Spearmint. And for me, spearmint has a lot to do, not just with cleansing, but it's also with cleansing of the auric field as well. But it's speaking to us of releasing, surrendering, letting go, because we just came from that full moon. We're working our way to the new moon, and we're releasing all that mental conflict, that misperception that we've had all of our life, coming into a new clarity from a spiritual point of view. And they want us to focus on uplifting energies, focus on energizing energies, focus on revitalizing energies, focus on energies that enhance the strength of moving you into a new beginning, that helps strengthen that new beginning. And this is why they say, right off the bat, to your purest essence and your potential. Tap into that. Focus on that. Don't be focusing on that on that negative, because there's going to be still a lot of negative coming through. Like I said, you still have until the 29th. Venus is in retrograde. Mercury is in retrograde until the 3rd of February. Venus is not love. I get so fed up. I say this all the time. Venus, I hate it when astrologers always put Venus to love, because it's not. It speaks to you about your emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical senses, whether it is doing things that are positive and showing you why it's positive and why you love it and why you want some more of it, or it's showing you why the sensitivity is harming you. Why this is that nurturing and neglecting energy. We're talking about, things that nurture us versus things that have harmed us, lied to us, betrayed us, and so forth. Do not focus on these things. Be aware, because yes, these retrogrades are showing us where the nurturing or the neglect has been what it is. But we want to focus on what we're moving into, where this new moon and this new direction and these new beginnings will be taking us by coming through the clarity and energizing us, revitalizing us, strengthening and back building, a more positive, powerful energy. Now, you are going to be building, like I said, up to a new moon in Aquarius. And I'm just giving you some insight on why I'm giving it to you this way, because Aquarius it's the water bearer. He pours all the higher knowledge of understanding of waters into society, bringing us the understanding of what is better. However, Aquariuses tend, not just Aquariuses, several signs do this. Several signs are all about those humanitarian interests. But then when it comes to them, they kind of forget that they're part of humanity, being a part of mankind. And they start looking at it outwardly like, well, it needs to be done there. It needs to be done there. It needs to be done there. But then they forget to apply it to themselves. And this is the difference between the sign and the human being. We are looking at it in the universal 11th house. This is the outer world, the outer structure of our world. It is our groups, our memberships, our communities. And are they part of what we want? Don't forget, you still have Saturn right here. Saturn is rules, walls, and boundaries. It's restrictions and withholdings. And it's speaking to us of the communities we keep. And if we want to continue to keep these people in our communities or the community itself, does that community, these groups, these memberships, do they help us support who we are trying to grow and be? Or are they accidentally, because we're somewhat jaded and we're somewhat still thoughts from a misperception, still taking the idea of that these communities are helping us when in truth they're not. We put a lot of times, I say this to a lot of people, sometimes you go out and you do things that maybe isn't exactly the most healthiest for you because you care, because you're a good person, because you're trying to be loving and do things that are right for the world around you. But if you are putting your time and energy into things because you're trying to do what's right, but ultimately it's the wrong thing for you, then what you're accidentally doing is loving the wrong thing. You're loving something that's actually harming you. And you have to know when loving something is harming you and when you need to throw up new rules, walls, and boundaries so that you can ultimately get to the goals, the dreams, the ambitions you wish to create. You're going to be having a lot of this energy building as we come to this new moon in Aquarius. Now, you have Neptune sitting with Pallas, Athena, the warrior goddess. She's not just about strategic thinking. She's not just the warrior goddess. She's knowledge. All right. And she's with your spiritual magic, the soul of the magic that created you. It's the spark. All right. But it's still in the 12th house. And that means there's parts of us that we don't acknowledge. We're not knowledgeable of ourselves. We're in denial of, because the 12th house is our grief, sorrow, shame, blame. It's our skeletons in the closet. This is our inner magic, our inner spark, that essence that Spirit is talking about, and acknowledging the true potential of where you don't believe in yourself. And it is getting along gloriously with that 10th house of that outer world, with Mercury, with Juno, and with Pluto. Now, what Spirit also tells me is pay very good attention to your partnerships over the next 2 weeks. Like I said, the community. Are these partnerships really partnerships? Are they fair and are they just? Or does some rules, walls, and boundaries need to be set here? Because you're talking about Mercury, retrograde, 10th house, outer world, the authority of the outer world. And are you having any authority in your own life to set? I always say this, you're the king or the queen of your own kingdom. And if you don't like the kingdom you've created, it's time to be a better king or queen. So you have Mercury in retrograde communicating with you about how you are viewing and taking inventory on these partnerships of your outer world. And are they truly supporting you or harming and hindering you? Where is the inventory showing its truth in these partnerships? Pluto is spirit. Though I walk through the shadow of death, I will fear no evil because I am spirit. I cannot lose who I am. That is the power of loving myself so much that I love even my darker energies because it is part of what makes me. Let's look at it. I mean, you want to understand the outer world needs to acknowledge you, not that you are part of the group. I mean, it's great to be part of the membership, part of the team, but at the same time, you are an individual. So are your individual needs being met? Are you being able to explore and discover your individuality within these partnerships of that outer world? And are you able to have power within your life because you've claimed your power back? Mercury retrograde is speaking to us about this. You have Neptune with the magic going, I can give you all of the power to tap into that pure essence of who and what you are. And I can help you strategically bring that up into the future if you are working through that grief, sorrow, shame, and the skeletons in the closet, and those parts of yourself that you sweep underneath the rug. And I say this all the time, just because you swept some dirt underneath the rug doesn't mean that it's gone. It just means that it's not in sight for you to see. Now, Mercury and Pallas are not getting along with Lilith in that 3rd house. Lilith in that 3rd house of Gemini is speaking to you about what are you here for? I mean, come on. With everything that's going on in this world, what are you here for? What is your potential? What is your source? What were you brought back here to do? And are you connecting to it? It is the spark and the fire of you. This is the one chance that you have to be you. And are you embracing it? Or are you allowing that outer world to be the boss over you? And where is that communication with Neptune's magic, that 12th house, that denial? Where is it throwing you off? Where is it showing you what you're in denial over? You also have Uranus, which is not getting along with that Mercury, that Pluto, and that Juno. Again, you're looking at the partnerships. Uranus is independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. It is ultimately coming into your power or ultimately losing your power and be the possession of the outer world, like the sheep, or are you the wolf? I don't know how else to put it. Are you in your own power? It's not getting along with that retrograde because there's parts that you're seeing or not seeing that are showing itself. They're going to be hitting beneath the belt, especially speaking to you about these partnerships that you keep, unless you've been doing your homework. And then you've already worked through a lot of this. You have Chiron, which is getting along with that Mercury, that Juno, and that Pluto. Chiron's the wounded healer and a brand new beginning. You have all the power here if you're willing to soulfully dive, if you're willing to get out of your comfort zone, if you're willing to take the chance and believe in yourself. Chiron is the wounded healer giving you a brand new chance, asking you to go after it, to not fear it. Not to mention, Spirit was also telling me with that Wintergreen and that Spearmint, they were saying a lot of that energy that you're trying to release of repetitive negative energies that we carry isn't just mental conflict, and it isn't just misperception, but what it also is, it's lungs and the heart, and it's the stress and the illnesses that are being put on many of us because we are holding on to the grief, the sorrow, the shame, the detachment, which is detaching because you shouldn't be attached to anything. It is also the sadness that you hold on to because you're afraid to change, but it's also flat out fear. It speaks to you of the sweet and the salty coming into balance and showing itself. You also have Chiron, which is getting along great with Saturn, which means it's showing you. It is literally showing you the rules, the walls, the boundaries that you need to put up to shift within all of these partnerships. It is showing you exactly what you need to be addressing come that new moon on February 3rd, February 1st. All of this is going to be showing itself before Mercury goes direct. You also have Chiron, who is not getting along with Venus. Venus, which is also in Capricorn. And it's not getting along because it's going to hit beneath the belt. It's going to tap into the insecurities and what makes you uncomfortable. What makes you doubt? What are you afraid of? Because that is where the power lies, in acknowledging what you have to change. And here's one of the keys that most people aren't going to talk about because I go into planets that most don't speak about. You have Jupiter, which is getting along wonderfully with Mars as it moves into that 10th house. But it's going to be moving in, and it's going to be coming right on top of Vesta. Vesta would be Jupiter's wife, okay? And Vesta, yeah, I was making sure I had it right. Vesta holds the keys. Vesta holds the keys to all the locks and all the doors. Coming up with Mars, the warrior, your passion, your action, your aggression, your fire. Vista holds the keys to opening up those investments of those new beginnings. She holds the keys to the security you're trying to create. If you can only believe in what Jupiter and Vista is trying to strengthen in Mars, that outer world is showing you everything you need to do. Just do you have the courage to come into the true essence, the true power of everything that you are? I always tell everybody, you can never harness your full potential if you cannot control your inner chaos. Because, darling, part of that potential, part of that soul power is knowing how and when to unleash that chaos in a healthy and proper way with all of your soulful magic. Like I said, we're coming to the end of Jupiter, the last couple years of not Jupiter, of Pluto being here in Capricorn. Though I walk through the shadow of death, honey, I will fear no evil. So you got this. You just got to believe in you. I love you guys, and I will see you right after that new moon. Bye.